So here we have a worksheet on telling time. In fact, this one is telling time to the half hour. And in this case, they show us what time the clock should say. 4:30, 6:30. The hour is 1 and the minutes are 30, so 1:30. But we need to draw the hands that are missing. Let's take a look at this first one for 4:30. We know on our Judy clock that with the minute hand pointing straight up and the hour hand pointing straight at the 4, that tells me 4 o'clock. But if I want to bring the minute hand around, halfway around the clock, down here to the 30-minute mark, then as I turn the minute hand, my hour hand also moves. Look at that red hand. It's starting to move between the 4 and the 5. So that when I get down here, it's actually now halfway between 4 and 5. This clock tells us 4:30. So let's look at this hands very carefully. Small hour hand is in the middle between 4 and 5. Minute hand, the long minute hand, straight down towards the 6 because that's where our 30-minute mark is. So let's draw 4:30. Well, I know I need my long hand pointing down to the 6. That's going to show me 30. And I know I need to have my short hand pointing between the 4 and the 5. So I'm going to make my short hand pointing between the 4 and the 5. Notice I made some little dotted lines just to help me out. Let's take a look at the next one. 6:30. My minute hand, long minute hand, is going to point straight down to the 6 because that represents 30 minutes. Doesn't represent 6, it represents 30 minutes. 6:30 means halfway past the 6, halfway past the 6 on its way to the 7, so halfway between the 6 and the 7 is where I want my short hour hand to point. I draw a little dotted line just to help me line it up. Here we go with 1:30. 30 minutes is the long minute hand pointing down to the 6, right? Because remember, we've got 0 up here, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Oh, there's 5 minutes between each number, 30. So I know my long minute hand has to point down to the 6 to represent 30 minutes. But my short hand has to be halfway between the 1 and the next number. So 1 and 2, 2 is the next number. My short hour hand has to point between those two numbers. Like that. 1:30. Here we have 10:30. Where should my minute hand point to? It should point down to my 6 to represent 30 minutes. What two numbers should my hour hand point between? It should point between the 10 and the 11, halfway between the 10 and the 11 to show that it's 10:30. The next one. Hour is 9, minutes are 30. Where do I draw my long red hand pointing to for 30 minutes? Straight down to the 6. That represents the 30 minutes. Doesn't represent 6. It represents the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up 28, 29, 30. 30 minutes. And my hour hand needs to be between what two numbers? Between the 9 that it's already halfway past and the 10 that it has not yet reached. So I'm going to draw my shorter hour hand pointing halfway between the 9 and the 10 to show that it's 9:30. It's halfway there to 10, not quite yet. 12:30. A minute hand has to point to 6 for 30 minutes. And the hour hand needs to point between two numbers. Now it's not 12 anymore. It's halfway between the 12 and the 1. So I want to make my hour hand halfway between that 12 and the 1. Remember, it's a shorter hand, so I'm not going to draw it all the way up there. There we go, 12:30. And that's telling time to the half hour.